Hey guys, Sandy here, and today I am scrapbooking these photos of my daughters and my husband and I at Cheesecake Factory. If you hear some music in the background, don't know what it is. It is Sunday afternoon and everybody's kind of doing their own thing. So I'm scrapbooking, they're video gaming, listening to music, having a good time. And I just felt like today would be a great day to pull out my Cheeky Studio kit to get these scrapbooked. So let's see what I can do.
So the first thing I did was take that pretty blue paper with kind of like the partial square pattern. It reminded me of something almost Art Deco-ish. I just decided to go ahead and cut the edges down so that I could have a peak of black poking through it. And then of course I matted my photos just on some white cardstock, and when I mat photos on white cardstock, it's like the cheap white cardstock that you can get in a huge pack at Michael's. So when those packs go on sale, you know, when they go for like that $5 for $10 sale where the cheap cardstock is on the cheap because it's cheap quality cardstock and it's cheap price-wise cardstock. So when that happens, I stock up on it, whatever. I stock up on stacks of cardstock. There we go. So I am loving these florals or these succulents that are they're succulents, but I'm probably going to call them florals throughout the entire video, guys, just because they are gorgeous and I love them, and they're so beautiful that they almost seem floral to me. If that makes sense, it makes sense in my own mind, so hopefully it will make sense in yours. Now, I love these so much, and these colors are fantastic. Like, they are just beautiful. Now, these photos are of us at the Cheesecake Factory, and if you've never been to the Cheesecake Factory, you must go. My favorite meal at the Cheesecake Factory is the crusted chicken Romano, something like that. But I get it with the white sauce instead of the red sauce. Delicious. And you have to get the Godiva chocolate cheesecake at the end. And get extra whipped cream because holy moly, that is awesome. So back to the layout, since I just waxed poetic about the Cheesecake Factory for a little bit. Now, these succulents / florals are gorgeous, and they work great for the Cheesecake Factory. They just do. If you can see in that one photo, there's a column behind my husband and my daughter. They have some like swirly things and some floral things, and the colors are almost identical and perfect for the succulents. Like the oranges and the greens and the kind of like reddy pinks, like they're perfect. They matched perfectly. It was almost like Tuesday knew I had Cheesecake Factory pictures to scrapbook and she made them. Now I know that that's not what happened, but I'd like to think that. So, I mean, look at these things. They're gorgeous. So what I'm doing is I'm just creating kind of like a mini frame around this corner of the photo. I want there to be weight here. I want something that gives it something substantial so my photos aren't just kind of like floating out there, just floating. And I am actually using some pop dots. I popped dotted the blue one and then the other blue one that is over by my daughter in the photo, and that one's only half pop dotted just to give it a little bit of dimension. And I used one of the Vicky Bouton stickers that says fun starts here with the pop of black, because I have that black, basically that black line down the right hand side of the page. I wanted to make sure I brought black over to the other side of the page as well, to that left hand side. Now these are those great tabs that are in the kit, and since I'm not doing a planner or like a flip page, I cut the tab in half because I can totally use that other half of the tab on another layout. If this was going to be like on a flip page or something like that, then I would have obviously used the tab on both sides because, you know, you want both sides to show. Now these are the cut apart labels, and I just cut apart some of the rectangle ones. I also cut apart some of the fishtail ones and decided to put them on each like jut out of my little triangle that's poking out. I wanted to kind of treat this piece over here on the side kind of like a border, where it's just a border of decoration. So I grabbed my Creative Memory Circle Punch, and I am going to go ahead and punch out one of the circles that came in the kit as well. And then I'm just using a couple of heart punches just to bring that black cardstock up to the forefront. I really want it to like go as much as kit only as possible, because you can definitely create layouts with Cheeky's kits. My favorite thing to do though, is when I get a kit, is to use that kit and bring in a couple things from my stash, because it makes me feel good when I'm using the new stuff, because hooray, it's new stuff in your room and like new stuff to play with. And it makes me feel good that I'm actually able to pull something in my stash that may have been here a while, may not have been here too long, but it's still something in my stash that I'm using up. So if I can use a kit and stuff from my stash, my heart is happy. My little scrapbook heart is happy. So what I'm doing is on this border, what I want to make sure I'm doing is somehow pulling the black from the back to the front on each of the little triangles. Some of the black is more pronounced than others. Like my bottom one is only going to be the black print that is already on that little triangle. Some of the other ones are going to have the black word stickers. Some of the other ones have the black hearts. But basically all I'm doing is making sure that there is some sort of black coloring on each of those little triangles that are poking out. And that is just because I am really, really enjoying color with pops of black lately. I've done it a couple times recently with my layouts, and I'm enjoying it so much I don't see it ending soon. But if there's an abrupt ending, that happens too, because I go through phases of my scrapbooking where I'm like, I love this, and I scrapbook a whole bunch with that, maybe that particular item or that particular technique or something like that, and then I go do something else. That doesn't mean I don't like that technique or I don't like the look of that anymore, but there are so many options in scrapbooking that you just have to enjoy it. Like, enjoy whatever you're doing. And I am definitely enjoying Cheeky Studio products. I'm so glad I found them. Like, so glad. And you should be so glad you found them too. Make sure that you go to cheeky.studio and you use my coupon code. It's Sandy10. That's Sandy with an IE. Sandy10, so that you can get 10% off your order. And guys, this is not 10% off your first order. This is 10% off every single order that you make. So you could get 10% off every single time Tuesday does a release. Like, you want these succulents, go buy them. The only thing the 10% off code doesn't work on is the kit, but if a kit's not your thing, which it totally should be your thing because the kit was beautifully, beautifully curated. If it's not your thing, go buy some succulents. Or if you are interested in the kit, subscribe to the kit and use the code to supplement and get those extra fun things, because everybody likes extra fun things. I like extra fun things. You probably like extra fun things. I mean, shoot, extra fun things are extra fun. That's why they're extra fun things. Okay. So now back to the layout. So I grabbed those Vicky Bouton stickers again, and I'm just making sure to layer up the succulents and the stickers and the hearts and the banners. And I'm just trying to create basically like micro clusters, because these are teeny tiny little clusters on, what is this, like 1.5 inch square or something? Let me grab a ruler. Just because now that I said it, I want to know. Yeah, 1.5 inches. Look at me estimating, guys. Okay. So I'm just creating these little micro clusters. Ooh, I like that. I created micro clusters on my layouts. So I've got that going on. And one of my favorite things to do recently, and not just with hearts, is to have them staggered in like these 3 little, like they're in a line. So basically you would take 3 hearts, put them in a line, move one over to the left, move one over to the right, and you have this kind of staggered heart look. And I don't just do that with hearts. I like doing this with plus signs too, because plus signs turned out to be one of my jams. Just gotta say, didn't understand them at first, and then I got some in a kit and made it happen. So hooray for plus signs, hooray for hearts, hooray for stars, hooray for succulents, hooray for everything except for butterflies, let's face it. Okay, as you can see, that little printed circle had 2 arrows on it, and I just tucked it underneath so that you really only see 1 arrow. And I'm completely okay with that because I like the way it looks. So now I am probably thinking about a title. Yep, I sure am thinking about a title. So I have some thickers that I've had in my stash for a little bit. One is Good Things, and I don't know what the other one is called. The other one has been in my stash for a while, but I haven't used a whole bunch of it. So I'm thinking about All the Awesome as my title, and I know that pink is bright, like super bright compared to what I have going on my layout, but I have a solution for that. So I tap down All the, and I am not pushing hard down on my thickers, so it's not sticking like super sticky. It's just kind of laying there on the paper. And I do that with my thickers. I know that a lot of people use wax paper, or they use a ruler, or they even use thicker guides, but honestly, I can't be bothered with that. It kind of just takes up too much time, and I would much rather spend my time scrapbooking than messing around with thickers and letters and all that. So anyway, if you don't press them down too hard, you can move them around nicely, especially the foam ones. Now, Awesome is just way, way too pink for me. Like, it is bright neon 80s screaming hair pink. And while I am a big fan of 80s bands and 80s music, it's not what I want to really have on this page. It's not the feeling that it has. It's not the color scheme that it has. So I'm gonna fix it. So what I do is I have this little Ranger embossing pad. I also have a little square Versamark one. It's just the one I have. I just laid some of that embossing glue, embossing sticky pad down on my title, and I'm using Brutus Monroe embossing powder in the black. And holy moly, guys, if you have not used Brutus Monroe embossing powders, you need to get yourself over there and you need to buy some, because they are amazing. Like, the quality of them is just ridiculous. It's so much better than the cheap little embossing folders that I have purchased, or not embossing folders, embossing powders that I've purchased in the past from places like Michael's. Like, it is amazing. Now, I am going to coat this a couple of times in the black. And that is not because, you know, my embossing powder isn't like enough for it. It's because that pink is so bright that it just is bursting forth underneath of it. If this was a lighter color, you know, no problem. Probably could have did this in one. Think about when you paint your house. Say you have a red wall in your house and you want to cover it up. You put a coat of paint on it. It's covered, but that red is still poking through. So you just need to do a little bit more. And that's all I do, is a little bit more. And then my hot 80s hairband pink Awesome is now black. And that definitely works, because I have decided from the very beginning, before I even knew I was going to do the title, before I even knew like that I was going to have to emboss something, that I wanted the pops of black. And say I wanted pops of white, I could have embossed this in white as well. It might have taken even a little bit more than the black, because white covering up that hot pink it might have taken me a couple of more passes with the embossing, but you know. Now, I am not a skilled embosser, and you have probably figured that out by watching me emboss this. Like, I make a mess. I don't, if you watch like Jennifer McGuire, when she's doing embossing on her cards, she has it down to a science. She doesn't make a mess. It's not like ridiculous. That's a Swiffer, because there was so much embossing powder all over that I needed to Swiffer it up. But holy moly, a Swiffer will pull up embossing powder and also glitter like you wouldn't believe. Like, it's amazing. And it's funny because if we run out of Swiffers, I'm like, don't take the one from the scrapbook room because it has glitter in it. And I don't want, you know, glitter going out all over the house. It gets out there on its own enough. Okay, so now I have all the awesome, and I am stupid excited about it. And I just pull off some of the little glitter hearts as well from that same thicker sheet. I'm just kind of sprinkling them around the page because I have that gold glitter that is there. And I just need to bring that gold a little bit more around the page so it's not just like boom, gold, all the gold right here. Don't need that whatsoever. Okay. So now, come on, Sandy, get those gold hearts down. After the gold hearts are down, I know that I need to bring back those beautiful succulents and make something happen on top of the title. Now, this might be embellished enough for you. Like, say you wanted to do something like this, you might say you've got a lot of embellishment going on there, Sandy. You have something all the way down the page, you have this big cluster over here on the bottom, and you have this huge title. You don't need anything else. Then hey, be done with it. Like, but for me, sometimes more is more, sometimes less is more. It's just a matter of how I'm feeling. And I am feeling that I am in love with these succulent die cuts, the succulent ephemera, so I need it more. So I found the perfect one that would fit, that kind of like nestles around between my title. And then here we have the ATG that broke, which is a pain in the tuchus. And it rarely does this, but I broke it. Like, I pulled on the paper tape too hard, so it's all my fault. It's not because I use the off-brand ATG. I do the same things when I have real ATG tape, guys. So it's all me. So now I have this up here, and I pulled this little black heart off of one of the thickers. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to bring that up there too, because it needs a little pop of black up at the top. I just gave it a date and a little line of at the Cheesecake Factory because I don't have a lot to say. We were at the Cheesecake Factory. It's a fun thing we do. It's not like it was a special moment. It was just a fun thing. So there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and check out those cheeky sequins. I'm in love with those as well. Be sure to use my coupon code Sandy10 for 10% off your order, and I will see you guys very soon for another Cheeky Studio layout.